Okay, Steve, let's go. That was a fun day. It was all critical situation stuff today. We had one regular drive, full speed live, that was just like getting the ball after a touchback and driving it. We did that, and then we went into the high red, the fringe part of it, the plus 45, and had a real drive. And then with the ones, we backed it back down into thud, did some coming out, some more red zone, did a 2-minute drill. It was a lot of football situation stuff. And then we let the young guys scrimmage for a bit to finish it up. They must have gotten 20 plus plays in there, something like that. So Jake Kitten was the only one, I think, that got pulled out. I don't know exactly what it is. He hurt his knee, but I don't know to the extent that he hurt it.
How'd the offense look? I mean, what was your takeaway today?
I thought that I'd say overall there was more efficiency. You know, I think that there was some snapshots there, Steve, that look like a picture of what we want to be. Some good play action, down the field throws, good efficiency on some third down stuff. Made a nice touchdown pass in the red zone. I mean, the efficiency parts, you know, of running the ball was pretty good. The play action off the run was pretty good. Third down efficiency looked good at times. And then you get down the red zone, make a nice move, get a touchdown pass. It looked good. I mean, there was some stuff like that that I think was kind of that snapshot that, okay, let's just build on what that looked like right there and go. We've got 3 weeks from today, and I think this is going to be, for us as we approach it, one more week of training camp, and then start heading into 2 weeks of more specific Arkansas State type stuff. So that's what our future looks like after today. The players will get tomorrow off. They'll come back today for a little bit of film later in the afternoon, watching this scrimmage, start fresh with some new stuff on Monday morning.
How many plays did you get today total then?
Over 90, or right around, I should say right around 90. I don't know. I guess we ran 89 plays because they told me 86 before that last drive, and I think we went, no, it might have been right at 90. It might have been fourth down right at the very end there. So.
Was Trey back out today?
Trey practiced today and participated today. He looked like he felt good. He did well.
Hey Mike, when you have a guy like Phil Savage come and watch and then make a comment that he thinks Tanner Lee could be a top NFL prospect, how do you kind of process a comment like that this early on? I mean,
yeah.
Knowing that people are this excited about a guy that hasn't played for you
Yeah.
yet.
Phil, I've known Phil. Phil and I worked together for a minute. And that's a story for another time, but it's the most beautiful story in the world. Want me to tell it? Huh? Do you mind? It is a neat deal. Phil had been a GA at UCLA for Homer Smith, and I just get the job at San Antonio, and I get to hire like 4 full-time coaches, and then I get to hire some interns. So I get this book on this guy from Homer Smith named Phil Savage, and it's not just a recommendation. It's like a book. It's not a letter. And so I just hired him sight unseen. I had a lot of respect for Homer, and so Phil comes and goes through the draft with us, goes to training camp, and I think Homer had sent that same book to Coach Belichick at the Browns. So we're in training camp, and Coach Belichick, offers Phil a job as a quality control guy, and we're practicing, and Phil's not going to go because I say, you have to go. We're going to close the door to you. You're an intern here. You get an apartment and $200 a month. You go get a job and go to work. So he goes, and I was now left without a guy in training camp. So we had met these 2 brothers. The general manager, John Peterson, had introduced me to 2 brothers at the draft, our World League draft. And one of them was older and looking for a job in the league, and the other guy was just tagging along, but he was also wanting to be an intern or something. So he said, what would you think about hiring so-and-so? You know, you met him down at the draft, and the family has got a great history of football. Dad's a coach, brother's going to be a coach, other brother's working in the administration of a league, a lot of football stuff. I said, let's get him, let's bring him down. Paul Christ. So two fabulous guys, right? Phil Savage, Paul Christ, kind of moved right past us right at that time. It's really exciting. But Phil knows what he's been doing a long time. Great history as a scout and then a general manager in the NFL. We've stayed close friends. Now he's got a great job running the Senior Bowl. So his opinion, you know, he's seen a ton of people, and so that's not a surprising comment to me about Tanner. We're just looking, you know, that stuff is out there like that. We're just looking forward to helping him really be comfortable and use that ability and play. That's what so we've got a lot of work to do.
And how do you temper those expectations, though, when he hears that stuff? How do you kind of bring him back to that level?
Coach him and teach him, and you know, we're not all there yet, right? I mean, it's not all perfect. So there's evidence, daily evidence, that there's a lot of stuff yet to do. You know, I think the one thing I have noted about Tanner Lee, there's not a bunch of drama with him. I mean, high, low, goofy, crazy, mad, happy. It's kind of like this, and I really like that about him. I mean, nothing much rattles him. I think he understands the process. I think he likes the work, which is, for me, the key. Guy's got talent, likes to work. Give us that every day. That's a beautiful thing. So I try not to go too far ahead. I've had guys that should come out early, do all that stuff. We rarely ever talk to Brandon Cooks or Quiz Rogers or Steven Jackson. We never talked during the season. We never talked about it. Those guys were real pros already. They just played, made a decision later. Lots of water under the bridge before we go down that path.
Have you seen anything in camp that would change your preference of redshirting Tristan Gebbia?
Yes. Yeah. I think that Tristan, by the time we get to the season, would function well in the game. I really do. Now, I don't think that's the best thing for him. I really don't. But we also know for a purpose we keep that room small, but the other side of that is he's got to be ready. So we know that.
What have you liked about what he's done here in camp, and what makes you think he would be ready if he had to play?
Vision, and really it's just he sees things and then makes the throw. And I'm still to the point where him being a freshman, I'm going, oh my gosh, that was a good play. You know, it's one of those things. I just think he's a player. You know that, I know that's just an old cliche, but I think he's a player, and been real impressed with his poise. His work ethic is off the charts. He is up there as much as the coaches. I mean, he is an amazing young man with his diligence.
How has Patrick done so far?
Good. Patrick had a couple great drives today, made plays. I think we are fortunate at that position, you know, and here we sit without a guy that's taken one snap for Nebraska. But I'm excited about those guys.
How do you feel about the depth building on both lines, that second group of guys? Do you see some guys that are pushing close to those first guys? Where do you think you stand right now?
I think as we look at it, we want to continue to build depth and ready-to-play depth. And I suppose if you looked at the front seven defensively, I don't think it's all completely defined, but taking good shape. You know, those inside linebacker positions look like that's a good-looking picture to me. A lot of work being done on the outside edges, but with the way Marcus Newby and Luke Gifford have been playing, that's a solid-looking picture. New good positions for Alex Davis and Cedric King on the other outside position. Offensive line, you know, I think we've made maybe a step forward today, and we just have to keep making that step every day. That's going to be the key. And then finding the next guy is still part of our process, I'd say. I think that forever we'll be looking for that elusive spot on the offensive line where you have 10 guys that you feel good about playing in the games, just equally interchangeable. That's going to be a day we'll go out and celebrate when we get to that point.
If one of those running backs was to separate, when do you anticipate that it would happen, or when would you want it to happen?
I think if that really doesn't become clear-cut by the end of this next week, then it's probably a rotation deal.
And it's not clear-cut right now?
No, I have an idea, but it's not clear.
Hey, Mike, David Neville, how important is it that he develops over from last year, and what have you seen from him in camp at the right side?
David Neville has a ton of upside. I mean, and he has played some good football. The thing that hurt him a year ago was inconsistency of being able to play. So if we can maintain his health and he keeps playing, he's had a good camp. Man, he's got a lot of stuff for that big of a man and that kind of athletic ability. Now he needs to challenge himself to reach that level of what he's really, really capable of, because I think it's really high. I think his upside is really high.
When there are young players in a program, you can kind of see when the light goes on and they start to play with more confidence.
Yeah.
Confidence being a part of performance.
J.D. Spillman's that guy. I mean, he has been. Now, he hasn't been practicing, so I'm worried about that. He was making strides every day to look like that. And so, yeah, there's guys. I think there's a number of guys like that.
Who are some of the others that you see the confidence growing?
Well, Mo Berry's still relatively young in the program, and he's elevated a ton. We think that he's played so much football for us, we think of him as an old guy, but Dedrick Young, is a guy that I think is so consistent every day that we know exactly what we're going to get. I think Tyjon Lindsey today made it another step up. Tyjon just can't get hampered by not knowing the assignments. If he knows what to do and can play fast, he's exciting. But, when you play tentative because you're not sure, then that takes away all that ability that you have to be good. So that's a good one. I think that the Davis twins are young, and they have elevated into what looks like a lot of good football there. The position I worried about and the position I'm almost really encouraged about is tight end. We lost 3 players that did most of the playing, and now Tyler Hompus has stepped up like a man. Connor Ketter has been hurt all summer. He's come back. I'm really proud of him, the work he's done to come back. Jack Stahl has a ton of ability and looks like he could be a player if he continues to grow. Matt Snyder is the same way. So that position, from where it was, Hohenstein is a guy that is a good athlete. This position could have a little depth to it and really now become a factor in being different, and maybe being good instead of just getting by like I thought we were going to have to do in some fashion. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Mike, 2 weeks in, has fatigue set in with these guys, or are they still pretty energized?
I'm sure it has, but what I'm most impressed with is I told the staff last night at our staff meeting, I don't get the impression that this team has had any of those camp doldrums where, what we have asked for is, on practice 12 is first day enthusiasm, which is almost impossible. But if we could make that real, so the approach to practice every day, how guys come out on the first day of camp, the first day of spring ball, and then day 4, it's like you can't hear anybody. It just disappears. But this team has not showed. I'm really impressed. I really like this team, and we have had no drama in our camp. It's been low maintenance. It's been a good picture. Gracias. You guys have a great afternoon.